Alright guys, we are back for another Dokkan battle video. So we're going to update the EZA tier list here. We just got a rocket of an EZA in Future Gohan. I have been incredibly impressed by Future Gohan and his performance across a lot of the events. Now, I've already been told that I'm saying it too much, but I would just like to re-emphasize to people, we are currently going through event power creep for sure. Many of the strongest characters in the game are kind of, you know, ineffective, we could say, against the new difficult stages. So you do need to keep this in mind, right? With a lot of these characters, it's like when we get below like character like 5 on this list, there's like a drop off in any of the new events. We can move fast. There's not really much movement. I mean, the last one of these was what, a week ago? The 5th. It was 5 days ago. Okay. This is the quickest turnaround I've ever done. This is the list from 5 days ago. Yeah. All right. So we have MVP 17 at 10. MVP 17 can be okay. But I mean, certainly he's getting just absolutely destroyed, in Omega, even in some of the older Red Zone stages. If you don't have his damage reduction up, you know, balancing HP is a huge thing in the game right now. You have so many characters with so many like variable like HP conditions and stuff like that. This 17 will be infinitely more effective if he was on a full Android setup, where he would be getting things like Shocking Speed, Android Assault, potentially Twin Terrors, and Infinite Energy. This guy's going to look a lot different. If he has these 4 links up right here, he's going to look a lot different compared to when he does not have these links. So you do want to keep that in mind. But I do think that 17 is at least decent and worthy of consideration for the list with his support and I will call it soft defensive abilities. Next we have EZA Cooler. I mean, Cooler does have the benefit of that most of these fights are against villain characters. Right now, we have a very explosive battle against a strong superclass boss, the Blue Vegito. But Blue Vegito's weakness is that you could debuff him, which does synergize very well with this Cooler, at least, right? Who debuffs, and then he gets an additional if the enemy is debuffed, so that can work well. Cooler, though, he just gets obliterated. He just does not work that well unless you're getting very, very strong luck. Big Bad Boss's characters, besides kind of like the top 3 or 4 of them right now, you know, it is a real struggle. So I like this guy with his support. He does have defensive stacking, but he just does not have enough start of turn defense. You need minimal attacks aimed at him, right? I mean, the good thing is that a lot of these newer fights do have like lower attack numbers than some of the older fights. So that's kind of how they balance it a little bit, right? These new bosses are hitting way harder, but they're attacking a little bit less to sort of balance it out. Then next we have Buu right here. Again, Buu and Cooler. I mean, you can kind of argue either one above each other. I'm not going to really go too crazy. Remember that this guy sucks. He's worthless. The thing is that, I mean, in the newer fights, I mean, it's like, you know, turn 5, turn 6, you're wrapping them up. Probably, right? So this guy's basically going to suck almost the entire time. Now, the good news for him is, again, this guy sucks. If you're below 49% HP, which, you know, you probably could be, Buu Piccolo is decent with his damage reduction and his support and stuff like that. If you're in this threshold right here, which is, I guess, very likely as well, keep in mind that he is an absolute 0. This guy sucks. I guess, I mean, maybe I could try him against Vegito Blue, because previously stuff like this was completely ineffectual. But now maybe we could take advantage of it. We'll see. So we do have that guy. But then, of course, the king is Buhan. If you're able to get Buhan, Buhan can put in work. Buhan is good. You know, this guy could still be fairly decent, I think, if we get, you know, another, like, strong, like, Majin Buu character or something like that. I do like this transformation, but it does take quite a while to get into him, which is a huge concern. Next, we have physical Beerus. Beerus has just got, like, damage reduction and stuff like that. It's pretty effective. This right here is actually useful right now, because a lot of these really tough fights are against Realm of God's enemies. So, I mean, certainly, I probably could give this guy a nice video. I mean, right now he's not on Global, so I'm sure people will be a little bit more interested in potentially seeing this guy. I might do this guy against a Goku Black fight, against a Zamasu fight. This could be a good character to run. He'll be a little bit better with this, because his problem is just, you know, he's a little orb hungry. It's not an issue if he's rainbow orb changing, but he's only doing that against Realm of Gods enemies. But again, we have a lot of powerful Realm of Gods enemies. This guy could be a lot better if God type characters, like we'd get like a stronger one for him to play off of, right? But I mean, he certainly can work. I feel like he does deserve consideration for the list here. Next, we have EZA Tech Trunks. A lot of people do need to get off my PP because I told y'all that this guy sucks, and this guy sucks most of the time as well. I mean, you need a good maybe even 2 full turns into this guy before he starts to become decent. This guy struggles tremendously. He's almost unrunnable in the newer fights. If he has attacks aimed at him, he is cut down. He is not taking hits from these newer, Zamasu and Goku Black and stuff like that. Huge problem for him is that this is not a permanent buff. But the thing about this Trunks is, I don't know if I would call it the hardest fight in the game right now, Omega. Kind of like we have Omega. We do have Red Zone Goku Black. We got Red Zone Zamasu. We got this new Vegito Blue fight. Like, there's kind of a lot of fights floating around. At least Trunks does dominate the Omega fight, even though he's type disadvantage. I think that's meaningful. Trunks is on this list because of his performance against Omega, right? Because he sucks in pretty much all the other fights. I guess against Vegito Blue, you could maybe get him stacked up a little bit. Maybe. I don't know. They really erred when they made this guy, because, we could see he's very far removed from what AGL Zamasu and Infinite Future Gohan are. If they want to drop Infinite Zamasu Red Zone stage in 2 weeks, and it's like a 15-turn fight, then I'll understand, and this guy will probably shoot up the list. But, right now, it's just a little bit iffy with this guy. He should have been guarding for a couple turns when you transform. If this guy would just guard for his first 2 rotations in Super Saiyan, I would like him, right? It's, very risky at the start. You hide this guy, but then, he's guarding for 2 turns in Super Saiyan and able to build up that defense safely. He would be significantly better. Unfortunately, if people didn't like it before where you need a guard and damage reduction and dodge to be viable, well, it's going to be even worse moving forward, right? So keep that in mind. All right, next we have AGL Gogeta. Again, I can just hear people talking about Gogeta, but as much as people love to just pretend like dodge is bad, a lot of these tougher bosses, you can't really just eat hits from them. You get the strongest guard and damage reduction characters in the game right now. A lot of them pretty much all build up, and they all get toasted by these new bosses. Dodging. Everyone loves the 5th anniversary Blue Fusions. They are fantastic. They are buffed immensely because they're great for all these new fights with their dodges. Gogeta also will be helpful too. Now, you play him the same way you do the 5th anniversary fusions. You get him first turn, and then you probably float him off. Because certainly, high chance on a dodge or die character is not good. But once you transform into blue, he then gets a 70% chance to dodge, and he's got his guaranteed crit. Still effective. Again, go tank. A lot of these characters cannot take any hits from these new big bosses. Gogeta is still dodging, which speaks volumes compared to what a lot of these other EZA-TURs are able to do, right? Now, I think from this point on, we do kind of get a little bit of a jump here. There's a jump here. Piccolo, very, very strong. In some of the newer fights, you can hide him, I guess, easily, I would say. Goku Black and Zamasu in these fights, again, they don't seem to attack as much right away. A lot of times I'm noticing in these fights there's empty spots. Them not attacking like the middle slot or something like that does seem to be a fairly consistent thing, doing Red Zone Zamasu, Red Zone Goku Black. But this guy he gets obliterated at the start of these fights. For Zamasu, I guess he's good because he does have type advantage. And then by the time you get towards the end, you transform and you get your damage reduction, you got the Scouter. This guy is still good. But, with how hard these bosses are hitting turn 1, this guy can be exposed on his first turn, maybe his second turn. Typically, you're pretty safe once you transform into this guy. Although, transforming into him is not free. This is not free either, right? It's not. HP restrictions like this are not consistent. This also is my cardinal sin of conditions right now, which is multiple different conditions. He has to be above 70% HP, gotta have another Namekian ally, and it's gotta be turn 4. I hate now when they're just stacking all these different conditions. The thing that is good for him, though, is that Namekians is very strong. Piccolo Jr. is the best TUR easily. Orange Piccolo is very well, you could argue him has the best LR. I would definitely say Bulma for sure, but, like, Orange Piccolo he deserves to be, like, he has worth towards the #1 spot in the game right now. So that helps his Piccolo out a lot. He's good, though. Healing, scouter, stacking, damage reduction. He's got stuff you want, right? Next, we have Blue Kaioken. Now, again, Blue Kaioken, he struggles pretty... you know what, now that we have the new Zamasu stage, I guess I should do a video for Blue Kaioken and Piccolo as well in the new Zamasu Red Zone stage, right? I mean, we get a new difficult stage, there's a lot of characters to test out. This should work effectively against Red Zone Zamasu, though. Like, when I was using this strategy, right, you bring a bunch of the UI Gokus and Blue Kaioken and stuff like that, it works against these newer fights because the UI Gokus are predicated on dodging, right, which most defensive characters can't eat attacks from Zamasu and Goku Black and stuff like that. So it doesn't really change that strategy too much. Blue Kaioken is able to drop the nuke. You have the LR Vegito Blue unit who does work effectively with this guy. Like, I found the strategy to be okay there. But against the Omega fight, it's like you need miracle RNG to make it through the Omega fight with the strategy, right? So because of that, I can't, have him by himself on a pillar anymore. The other thing, too, previously, this guy guards for the first 5 turns, right? Previously, he would guard, and, the boss couldn't just one-shot him out of there with him guarding. Now, bosses can one-shot. Even through his guard, bosses can one-shot this guy. They hit that hard, that fast, right? And keep in mind, this is another one of these garbage designs here, where we have a character who builds up defense by getting hit, which is just amateur hour clown shit. No more. Do not do this ever again. Defense on getting hit sucks. No, it's terrible. Terrible. But that's kind of the draw, the negative edge of the sword about this guy now, is that you can't guarantee you could put him in front of attacks, and even though he's guarding, he's living, because, bosses just hit that hard. Those are kind of the negatives there. So obviously now, Future Gohan here is up at 2, and then I guess we can go ahead and grab number 1. Number 1, again, should be fairly obvious to people. Both of these characters, to me, they do feel a step above the rest of the easy ATURs. Zamasu and Future Gohan, they seem capable of going toe-to-toe with pretty much all the strong bosses. Their performance is very consistent. Both of these characters have a very consistent performance across all of the tough bosses. Piccolo, I found it very easy for him to get crushed at the start. If the attacks are spread out, Piccolo can get crushed. Blue Kaioken can get crushed, and the UI Gokus are certainly weak characters, right? That could be an issue for the Omega fight. These guys, it's not like, I don't know about bringing him into this fight. These guys are going to be pretty consistent. I mean, maybe Future Gohan, depending upon the way the fight goes, wouldn't be the best against the Vegito Blue Mortals and God event. But this guy, he's got the damage reduction and the guard potential and the support. I like this guy. I think he's a really good easy. Unfortunately, this is kind of like the minimum of what we're looking for from EZAs now. I mean, it is. Look at all the tools this guy has. Damage reduction, huge support, guard, right? And then you transform, and he's got damage reduction here. I would count this as a very powerful tool right here. Medium chance to crit, right? Like, he has a ton of powerful tools to go against these really, really tough bosses. And then, of course, kind of a similar thing with Zamasu, where he's got damage reduction the whole way through. And then remember, Zamasu has this extreme class allies 2 key right there. This is strong for villains. This guy's got the healing. This guy's got stacking. This guy could do incredible damage. I mean, these guys, these top 2, I don't know. I was a little bit kind of like, I wanted to put Future Gohan right here, but I don't know. I just felt like I should put him next to Zamasu. Because what I was thinking is, again, I feel pretty comfortable running Zamasu in all these fights. Does running Future Gohan scare me? The answer is no. Does running Blue Kaioken scare me in some of the fights? Yes. Piccolo? Yes. All the rest of those guys, yes. But future Gohan and Zamasu, the answer is no. I am not scared at all to run them in every single fight. So, to me, it felt clear that I should put them both in Z. This is good. This is exactly what we would expect to see from a major celebration. You should not be down here. They fumbled hard with this guy, right? I mean, it seems pretty, obvious that this guy's about to be a Carnival LR we're going to see in 2 days. So it's not the biggest deal ever, but still, this guy should be up here. Like, it sucks. Because we need new, strong characters. They just phased out another half of the game of being super relevant. So we need stronger options. So again, there's no real changes here besides, this trash is off the list now. Thank God, he does not deserve to be here. And then future Gohan just slides in right behind Zamasu, right? So let me know what you guys think. Let me just take a look at this again. Like I usually say, do I care when the French quote tweet me and call me a dumb fat idiot? Nah, feel free. I'm confident in this list. This list can go up. So let me know what you guys think about this. Future Gohan, really good design, very strong EZA. Zamasu as well, really good design, really strong EZA. They are exactly what we're looking for. When people, tweet out a picture of a character and say, praying they don't fumble this guy's EZA, this is the type of shit you're looking for, is what these guys got. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch y'all next time.